Guys, Stick Fit Mama here, and today we're going to discuss the 3 most common arrow tips that I use for traditional archery. There's a purpose for each of these, and we're going to go into why I use them and what purpose I use them for. Now, all of these are going to be just screwed onto the tip of my arrow, and depending on what your arrow looks like and what type of arrow and the poundage you shoot, this can all be different, but you can see that my arrow tip is just, it has an insert that the arrow screws into. You probably can't see that. And this is, for example, what the target tip looks like. This part just screws on into the insert of the arrow into the shaft. And I screwed in really tight. As you can see, there was some glue on there. You are more than welcome to glue. Sometimes there's weighted tips, so all of these tips are going to have a different weight to them, and that's going to determine how your arrow flies. These are 500 grain arrows. The grain is going to be determined based on the poundage of bow you shoot. So if you shoot too heavy of an arrow, it's not going to fly well. And if you shoot too light of an arrow, well, you risk dry firing your bow. So I really recommend, we'll kind of go over that. I think that's a good idea for another video. How to determine the best weight for an arrow for your bow. But for today, we're just going to keep talking about these tips. So as I mentioned, this is a target tip. I didn't quite get it screwed in all the way. This is what I use for foam targets. You are not allowed to use any other type of target in most competitions, because any other type of tip on targets in any other competitions, because if you were to look at the way a broadhead would fit into a target, imagine this going in and coming out 400 times in one day. This is going to be a lot less detrimental to the target than this is. So that is why these are the only things. Now, this is the Judo. If you were to shoot a Judo, it has these retractors on it that you can see. It's literally used to not fall into things. And so, like a brush or something like that. So that would not work in a target. It would just fall out. And so that's why these are the most common. You will see this one's still pretty pointy, but as you start shooting into stumps and rocks and different things, those can be flattened. So you want to just pay attention and save them for the crappy targets that are against the basalt wall, which we have plenty of when we go to Moses Lake. Now, the next one I will go over is the broadhead. Now, the broadhead, as you can imagine, is used for killing big game. So you will use this also for turkey hunting, bear, deer, elk, moose, you name it. This is the type of tip you're using. Now, there are different ones where you will see, additional blades off to the side, but when it comes to traditional, this is pretty dang close to what they look like. Sometimes they're shorter. This is a sharp puppy, and it will do some serious damage the way it is. So that's what these are used for. Like I said, they're incredibly sharp. So if you, like I said, this just screws on just like my target tip did, be very careful when doing that. And then, like I mentioned, the Judo. Now, what's fun about these is if you are out in the woods, say you're doing some scouting, one of my favorite things to do with my grandpa is to go stump shooting. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Early spring, especially during bear season, it's really fun. A lot of the stumps are soggy up here because it had been snowing, and now, it's thawing out and they're just full of moisture. So we'll see a target, a stump, and we'll say, all right, we're calling that one, and we'll see who can hit it. And why this is fun is because these little retractable springs don't allow it to burrow into the ground because the ground is so soft. And so if you were to just shoot a target tip at it, you would end up damaging your tip after a while. And you have very good chance that this will just dig straight into the ground and you will not find it. So that's what these are for. I also mentioned, shooting turkey with this, but we have these things called grouse up here. And they're really similar to like a wild chicken, and they taste like chicken. It's not one of those like, oh, it tastes like chicken. They really do taste like chicken. But honestly, the amount of blunt force that this would hit them with here, because this still has a pretty gnarly tip, we use these to shoot them. They're pretty dumb. Like, they just stand in the middle of the road and stare right at you, pretty much begging to be hit. So sometimes it's not even fun. But anyways, those are the 3 most common tips and the purposes for them. And if you guys have any questions, or maybe you have other reasons that you use these, please put them in the comments, share. I would love to hear your guys' input. If you guys have any questions or want more clarification on one too, please don't hesitate to ask. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great day. Happy shooting.